When someone suddenly starts showing their true colors, when they used to reply to your messages immediately and later begin ignoring your messages for days, don't answer your calls, block you, and behave in ways you could never imagine, it leaves you confused about how to deal with them. This might seem like a small issue to you, but for those who truly suffer from this, it is a huge problem. So I'll explain psychologically how to deal with the situation to gain clarity, understand what to avoid, and what to do to resolve the issue. There are 4 types of attachment styles in any relationship. The most common type, which often leads someone to connect with us or watch such videos, is the anxious attachment style. People with this attachment style typically have a personality. If you ignore them, they become anxious and stressed. They feel like everything is about to end. They panic and are not strong. They fear that others will leave them. Because of this, they can't maintain balance in the relationship. They always give much more in relationship, putting in 90s of the effort while the other person only puts in 10 to the 15. Attempts are always being made to create any conflict, and whenever even a small conflict is resolved, they see it as over, apologizing, and realize that the other person is moving away. They panic and try to bring that person back. During this effort, they make some mistakes which make them unattractive, and the other person leaves them. So stop here and we will continue from here next. Understand the personality of the other person. The personality of the person who is leaving us, the one who is ignoring us, is often characterized by a dismissive, avoidant attachment style. This is something we frequently observe in many of our cases. A person with a dismissive, avoidant attachment style is someone who might leave us, threaten us, or suddenly change their behavior. He never compromises on his independence. For him, independence comes first, and then other things. At first, we may not realize his personality, but over time, he shows that independence is everything to him. By independence, it means that when he sees we are calling or messaging too much and being too clingy, he starts to pull away. They might initially like that, we love them a lot, but later, the same thing becomes unattractive to them, and they prefer to leave. Why? Because they feel suffocated and think that any restriction or anything that makes them feel they don't have the freedom to live the life they want makes them start distancing themselves from you. They want to gain control over you. They also want to gain control over the situation and their own life. They don't want you to control their life. As soon as they feel that you are trying to control their life or getting too attached to them, or when they need some space, they start to distance themselves from you. If you are pulling them closer or expressing complaints, they become uncomfortable and then decide to leave you. They don't leave suddenly. They first make the decision, and only after they feel strong enough to handle it do they act on it. They believe that if they leave, the other person will stay around and won't go anywhere. When they decide to leave, they might announce it, but they don't always leave right away. It all depends on your reaction. When they consider leaving, they test the waters with minor issues and observe your response. If you panic, it gives them confidence, as they see that you are affected and might be more likely to stay or try to make things work. When they say, "I will leave," it implies that they see themselves as very special and view the person attached to them as not special. This attitude indicates that they feel a sense of superiority and control, similar to dismissive avoidant behavior. It means that the person who wants to leave feels they have something special and that the other person's desire to keep them around is seen as a way to exert control. They feel a sense of control when the other person seeks their attention. A dismissive, avoidant person dislikes this control and prefers to have control over their own life. This is why they prefer to leave. They want to exercise their control and don't want to be in a situation where their control is challenged or compromised. When someone repeatedly chases after them or keeps coming back, they find this very unpleasant. They feel trapped and believe that everything now has to be experienced from the perspective of the attached person. Feeling this confinement, they seek to reclaim their freedom. They try to distance themselves, and when they see you panic more with even a slight delay in messages or less communication, it reinforces their decision to leave. They start to feel that their life might be better without the relationship, as their doubts about the situation increase. If control is in your hands, meaning the person attached to you has control, they will try every possible way to exercise that control and distance themselves from you. When they see that you are becoming more persistent, repeatedly calling and messaging despite their decision to leave, it reinforces their decision even more. At that point, they are completely certain that they want to end the relationship. When they block you, and you keep trying to reach them through other numbers, mutual friends, or asking family members to unblock you, it worsens the situation. The situation becomes more complicated with constant words and attempts to contact them. So if someone is determined to distance themselves and repeatedly says they want to leave, you must give them the space they need. Remember to maintain your self-respect and avoid engaging in any further attempts to contact them. Don't compromise. Don't think they might understand if you try to get their attention or convince them to come back. Logic doesn't work in these situations. We often make the mistake of reasoning with them logically or emotionally, trying every way to make them stay. The more you try to convince them, the more certain they become about leaving. Remember, the more you try to stop them from leaving, the more you will suffer. If you want the other person not to distance themselves, not to disrespect you, or not to question your self-respect, then start standing up for your self-respect. Then start standing up for yourself. Love yourself, respect your own life, and decide that if the other person wants their freedom, you will respect that and focus on your well-being. Your self-respect is important, and you need to work on your attachment style as well. This clearly shows that you have anxiety and feel you can't live without the other person, depending on their presence for your happiness. Therefore, you need to decide that you don't need their approval or presence. Focus on your qualities, give them the space they need, and respect their decision. You'll find that the other person might come back to you on their own. The biggest issue was that you weren't giving them freedom. Once that issue is resolved, they might realize they were wrong and see that your self-respect is crucial. When they get this clear message, their doubts will likely fade away.
They will come back to you because it's not easy for anyone to initiate contact. If you think they will easily reach out to you, that's unlikely. When you give them the space they ask for and focus on your own life, you can be sure that they will eventually come back.
They will return because their independence is no longer threatened by you, and they will feel more at ease. They will realize that they have control over their own life and will reach out to you again.